Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
I want to welcome all of you to Understanding High School, Ms. Roth-Morton, my new school's principal, announced. This is a new school in an old school building, set up to meet the needs of all its students. Understanding High School came about following multiple lawsuits brought by parents of students who faced harassment due to their differences. These included nerds, geeks, undersized boys, gay students, and those perceived as such. This high school was established to provide a safe environment where students wouldn't fear bullying, such as being forced to do football players' homework. Any student caught harassing others would be sent back to their previous school. As for me, Understanding High School will address two of my main issues. Standing at 5'3" and weighing 120 pounds, I've often found myself locked in my own locker, causing concern for teachers. Additionally, I've faced challenges due to my preference for women's clothing, a matter I didn't disclose to my parents. Ms. Thornton, a counselor at Understanding High, invited me to attend on July 27. Dean, first things first. You have been selected to attend Understanding High, she informed me. Do you have any questions before we proceed? Was I selected for my size or my other issue? I asked. For both, Ms. Thornton replied. But either would have qualified you. She assured me that Understanding High School would prevent any harassment seen in my previous school, with severe consequences for offenders. That's not the only rule that could result in your return to your old school. We have a strict policy against any behavior of a sexual nature on school grounds. Kissing is permitted, but that's the limit. Off campus, we have limited control, Ms. Thornton explained. You still don't have to worry about me in that regard. I've never even had a girlfriend, I replied. This includes both heterosexual and homosexual behaviors. About 40% of our students identify as gay, she stated firmly. There will be no romantic relationships between students and teachers. This rule stems from the fact that teachers, like yourself, applied with personal requests. Some are gay, others enjoy dressing in women's clothing. Those who prefer to dress that way will be teaching in attire of their choice. I understand, I acknowledged. Then I asked, what about my other issue? We're addressing that. Some male students will arrive dressed as girls. We'll find solutions for others like you, whose parents aren't aware of their secret, Ms. Thornton reassured. As Ms. Thornton finished speaking, she stood up and extended her hand. I want to welcome you to Understanding High. I have another student arriving in 5 minutes. Before I go, I have one more question. How many others are like me? Those whose parents don't know about their need to wear women's clothes? I inquired. 22, she replied. I rose and left. First day of school. Here I sit along with 200 students listening to Ms. Roth-Morton in the school's cafeteria. Understanding was set up to help those kids who do not fit in any place else. Each of us has our problems, teachers, students, and administrators alike, said Ms. Roth-Morton. A voice in the back said in the back, administrators? Administrators, and that includes me. I asked for this job. When I stated my qualifications, I was immediately accepted. Would you like for me to tell you about my special qualifications? There was a chorus of, yes. I have the body of a woman except one piece of equipment between my legs. I love the way I am. Most, if not all, of your teachers have some of the same problems you are having. That's why the threat of being fired was always on their minds. As with you students, no sexual activity will be allowed among the teachers, between teachers and students, or among the student body. I want you all to remember this school is on a trial basis. If you mess it up so the school board decides to close Understanding, you will be putting the students in later classes through the same hardships and problems we are trying to eliminate. In closing, I want to say this. Follow the rules set forth in the Understanding Handbook and there won't be any trouble. Then in 20 years, at your class reunion, You'll be proud to be the first class of many graduating from Understanding High School. Ms. Thornton then took the stage. She announced, "I have no speech prepared," and the sound of clapping filled the cafeteria. "I just have one announcement. Will the following students report to room 26? She then read 22 boys. My name was included on the list. "Also, will the following students report to room 19? 10 girls' names were read off. The rest report to your third period class. You are now dismissed." 5 minutes later, there were 22 boys standing outside the locked door of room 26. From the maps we were all given, room 26 was about 3 times larger than any other classroom. A minute later, Ms. Thornton showed up. As we gathered around, Ms. Thornton said, "During your interviews last summer, you were told we were working on your problem of wanting to dress like a girl and go to school, but were unable to due to the fact your parents don't know about this. I hope you all love the way we settled your problem," she said as she unlocked and opened the door to room 26. The shock of seeing Ms. Roth-Morton's male organ was nothing compared to the shock the 22 of us had when we looked inside room 26. We just stood there and stared. Our brains couldn't comprehend what our eyes were seeing. Along the wall across from the door stood vanity mirrors, the type you would find in a teenage girl's bedroom for applying makeup. Along another wall stood racks upon racks of dresses, blouses, skirts and sweaters, too many to count. There are also 5 chests of drawers. These are the clothes you can wear while you attend Understanding High. If you want to dress up, you can come early enough to get dressed be on time for your first class. After your last class, you can change back into the clothes you wore to school. The chests of drawers will hold your training bras, panties, and the other undergarments that a girl needs to wear. Before another word could be said, a few of the boys started to unzip their pants. "Hold your horses." "Yes, ma'am," the boys replied. "There are 22 racks. Each one has a name on it. Those clothes were set aside for that person. You have 2 drawers set aside for your own undergarments." As Ms. Thornton was telling us this, we all lined up like the drivers in a motocross, just waiting for the gun to go off. "You may begin." Most of the boys ran to the clothes rack. Me, I headed for my undergarments. I wanted the feel of panties around my masculinity, and I wanted it now. Within a minute, there were 22 unclothed teenage boys laughing and giggling like 22 teenage girls. I paused to enjoy the feeling being caused by my bra and panties. This also gave me time to watch the other girls, I should call us girls now, as we tried to decide what to wear for the first day of school. "Come on, girls, make up your minds. We don't have all day," said Ms. Thornton. "Pick something nice to wear. Tomorrow you can match everything up perfectly." When the crowd subsided around the dress racks, I went over to pick out my dress for the day. It only took me moments to decide which one. It was an exact copy of a dress I have seen my mom wear. I have had many daydreams about wearing this certain dress. I was one of the first to sit down at the vanity tables, still in just my bra and panties. I didn't want to get any makeup on that beautiful, wonderful dress. "Dean, wait until the others are sitting down," Ms. Thornton told me. "Then I will only explain only once on how apply your makeup." I had to make a decision. So finally put on the dress I had dreamed of wearing. It wasn't as much as people would think, just something a high schooler could wear. Not wanting to put a run in my first pair of pantyhose, I chose to wear knee-high socks that matched the dress and a pair of Mary Janes. By the time I finished tying my shoelaces, everyone else was dressed. First, I want each of you to take a hairbrush. Then use it to make your hairstyle more feminine. Ms. Thornton walked down the line of girls, helping those who couldn't get there right. Since there isn't much time before the bell, I will show you how apply your lipstick and rogue. Tomorrow, during PE, your instructor and I will go into more detail about makeup and other things a girl needs to know. I went with a conservative look concerning my lipstick and rogue. Then the bell rang. Remember, tomorrow when you are scheduled for PE, report here to room 26 instead. Ms. Thornton told us as we were leaving. Also don't forget your purses. No one stared or made rude comments as I walked to my next class. At Understanding High, students accepted each other based on inner qualities rather than appearances. My next class was history, followed by economics, both held in the same classroom but with different teachers. Upon entering, another student motioned for me to join her, someone not among the 22. "Hi, Dean," she greeted as I took the seat beside her. I recognized the voice but couldn't immediately place it. "I bet you don't recognize me under all this feminine attire," she remarked. Finally, it clicked. "Sam, is that you?" Sam Crawford, my best and only friend from my previous high school. "When I'm dressed like this, I prefer Sabrina," she replied. "Why didn't you tell me about your dressing?" I inquired. "The rules. When my parents caught me dressed up, they laid down some ground rules. I can dress however I like as long as I keep it to myself," she explained. "How do your parents feel about you attending Understanding?" I inquired. I didn't even have to sign up, my parents did it for me. I was among the first students enrolled. "Your parents don't know about your desire to dress up, do they?" she asked. "No, they don't," I replied. Our conversation halted as the history instructor entered the room. "Please take a seat anywhere you like." "I don't assign seats," Mr. Foster informed us, standing in front of his desk. "My name is Mr. Foster, and I'll be your history teacher. I want to share why I chose to teach here at Understanding. I'm gay. I only came out after I was accepted to teach here, so I won't do anything to jeopardize my position." Similar introductions followed in all my classes. Each teacher explained their reasons for teaching at Understanding. Sabrina and I shared only the history class, but we often met for lunch with a few other students we'd befriended in our other classes. "Oh, I forgot to ask your fam name, Dean," Sabrina mentioned. "Is it really that important?" I asked. "It is. If you're dressed like a girl, you should have a girl's name. Dean just doesn't fit," she insisted. "I've always liked Jennifer," I shared. She then introduced me to the others at the table as Jennifer. "Hi, I'm Brock. You're one of the 22 boys who hasn't told their parents about liking to dress in girls' clothes, right?" Brock, dressed as a boy, was clearly a girl underneath. "Don't worry, I have a similar situation. I haven't told my parents I'm a butch, so I have to dress like a girl at home. When I get to school, I change into these wonderful clothes." After lunch, I discovered that students weren't the only ones hiding secrets from their families. My English Lit teacher, Ms. Jameson, shared her own situation with us. "I'm a closet crossdresser. If my wife ever found out, she'd be out the door to see a divorce lawyer. So, like some of you students, I change here at school," she confided. And so, Understanding High School was born, a place where students, teachers, and administrators could embrace who they are without fear of harm. It was a place where teaching and learning thrived in a supportive environment. It was a somber scene in room 26 after our last class, as the 22 of us shed our feminine attire. The thought that kept me from tears was knowing that tomorrow I could once again embrace being Jennifer. Luckily, Mr. Jameson, my English Lit teacher, lived just 4 blocks from my house. Since we both needed to arrive early and leave late, we decided to carpool. Avoiding my return to my old school and ensuring Mr. Jameson kept his job were our only concerns. As I entered through the kitchen door, my mom asked, "How was school today, dear?" "Great. For once, I actually enjoyed going," I replied. "You'd better wash your face before your dad gets home," she advised. "Why?" I asked. "You missed some lipstick," she pointed to her own lip as she spoke. "Mom!" I nearly exclaimed. "Don't worry, I know all about room 26, she reassured me. "How else do you think your clothes fit so perfectly? And that favorite dress of mine hanging in your closet? It didn't magically appear there. I'd bet it's the one you wore today." Yes, it was. "How did you find out about all of this?" I needed to understand. "Does Dad know?" "No, and I prefer it that way," she confessed. "I've known about your cross-dressing for years. You weren't as discreet as you thought." I found my clothes out of place or with strange bulges where there shouldn't have been any. Why didn't you say anything? I wondered. I thought you'd figure it out on your own. When the school district established understanding, I knew it was the perfect fit for you. Remember last June when your father was upset with me for exceeding my budget? I wasn't buying clothes for myself, they were for you. I knew you'd find acceptance at understanding by last May. I kissed her on the cheek and said, "Thank you," before heading off to wash my face. As I walked away, she added, "Dean, you'll still need to use room 26. We don't want your father discovering his daughter, do we?" "No, we certainly don't," I agreed.